I'm Dani Gossip Girl, and we're breaking down pop culture, reality TV, and what's really going on. Today, we are going full cloak and dagger because the Traitors is back, and this cast is giving psychological warfare. If you're new here, the Traitors locks a bunch of celebrities and reality pros into a castle, tasks them with missions for prize money, and then secretly assigns traitors who murder players each night while everyone else tries to banish the liars at the round table. It's a social strategy game disguised as campy murder mystery perfection, and it's one of the best shows Peacock has right now, or at least right after the new year. This season's cast is 23 people deep, and it is stacked. Housewives, Survivor legends, Big Brother masterminds, Love Island chaos agents, and a few wildcard celebrities you wouldn't expect. All right, let's break down every cast member, how they got famous, what their public persona is, what strengths they bring into a deception game, and what could get them banished or murdered early. So first up is we have Candace Dillard Bassett. Candace rose to fame on Real Housewives of Potomac, and she's one of those housewives who people think is just emotional, get the crying aloud all, when in reality she's sharp, quick, hyper aware of the room. She also comes from a pageant background, and pageant girls are trained in controlled performance, how to hold composure, how to deliver a line, how to command attention. What Candace brings to the Traitors is verbal precision and a very specific kind of social radar. She notices tone changes. She notices who's over-explaining. She clocks who's trying to redirect. The danger is she tends to respond in the moment. And the castle punishes people who are too reactive because it gives everyone something to point at. If she's a faithful, she could be incredible roundtable prosecutor. But she also risks becoming the loud accuser people want gone. If she's a traitor, her biggest challenge will be emotional regulation because the best traitors aren't the ones who lie well. They're the ones who lie calmly. Next up, Carolyn Stanbury. She is built for this environment. She came up through Ladies of London, such a Bravo classic, do your watching, and then became a central figure on The Real Housewives of Dubai. Womp womp. But her whole brand has always been upper echelon social navigation. Carolyn's castle advantage is that she's not desperate for approval. She can sit back, let people spiral, and still look composed. And that composure often reads as trustworthy, even when it shouldn't. She's also excellent at quietly forming alliances that feel natural because she's good at making people feel chosen. Her weakness, though, is also very clear. Caroline can come off cold or above it, and faithfuls often get paranoid about anyone who seems emotionally detached. If the group decides she's too calm, then they'll start protecting her strategy onto her. If she's a traitor, she could thrive because her social style is already polished and controlled. If she's faithful, she still has a real story simply by staying elegant, agreeable, and never being the loudest person in the room. Next up is we have Colton Underwood. Wondering what everyone feels about him, but Colton is one of the most controversial choices here. And Peacock absolutely knew what it was doing. He became famous through the Bachelor universe, where his storyline was intense, emotional, heavily followed, and then his public life went through major upheavals after the show. From a pure gameplay perspective, Colton brings something tricky. Image management. He's had to navigate public perception in real time, which means he's practiced at controlling a narrative, selecting what to share, and presenting vulnerability in a way that lands sympathetically. That said, The castle is not a PR tour. People will side-eye him if the group has even one person who decides, I don't trust him. That suspicion can spread fast if he's faithful. His best move is to quietly helpful and let others take the heat. If he's a traitor, he could be dangerous because he understands how to perform sincerity. But the risk is that the room may never fully relax around him. Next up, we have pop icon, NFL mom, Donna Kelsey. Donna brings her genius casting here because she's famous in a totally different way. She became a beloved public figure as the mom of NFL star Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey, and she's been embraced by mainstream pop culture, but she's not a reality competition veteran. Donna's strength is that she's read as safe. People will assume she's wholesome, neutral, and not scheming, which is exactly why she could slip by a long time. In the Traitors, perceived harmless is currency. But here's the flip side, guys. The pace is brutal. The social suspicion is relentless. And in Donna struggles at all with game talk, strategy jargon, alliance logic, interrogation. She could look confused, and confused can look guilty in the castle. Think of Bergie at the start of his season. If she leans into being warm, steady, and emotionally grounding, she could become the group's mom figure. And those players often go far until Traitors decide they're too beloved to keep around. Next up is none other than Dorinda Medley. Dorinda is a housewife legend from Real Housewives of New York City, and she's also a returning Traitors competitor, which automatically makes her one of the most fascinating presence in the room. Dorinda's fame has always been built on big personality, emotional honesty, and unpredictability. She can be warm and funny and then turn sharp instantly, sometimes in the worst of ways. In the castle, that volatility is a double-edged sword. Her advantage? She understands the environment. She's been through the paranoia cycle. She knows what it feels like to be wrong, to be accused. Experience matters. Her danger. She gets triggered and can escalate. And when someone escalates, the group stops asking, are they right? And start asking, are they safe? That's how you get banished. If Dorinda plays calmer than usual, she's extremely dangerous, although I doubt that's going to happen. If she spirals, she's going to be another early casualty, just like she was the previous season she was on. Either banished by the faithfuls or murdered by the traitors who don't want to deal with her. Next up, Eric Nam. Eric Nam brings a completely different energy. He's a musician and a media personality known for being charismatic, articulate, and extremely socially adaptable. In a game like this, adaptability is power. Eric's whole career has been about navigating audiences, interviews, and public perception, which means he can likely fit with many groups without setting off alarms. His strength is also subtle. People talk around someone like Eric because he feels friendly and safe. And when people talk, they reveal tells. His biggest risk, though, is that the reality gamers, the Big Brother and Survivor folks, may identify him as a social threat, even if he's not openly strategizing. Sometimes because you get murdered just because you're too likable. Eric's win path is to be charming, helpful in missions, lightly involved in discussions, and never the loudest voice at the round table. Next up is we have Ian Terry. Ian is a Big Brother champion, and that instantly puts a target on him because BB winners understand lying, alliance structure, and long-lasting positioning. Ian's brand has always been cerebral, quiet, analytical, underestimated until he's suddenly running the logic of the room. In the Traitors, that's dangerous because logic is how you catch inconsistencies. But it's also dangerous because traitors kill logic first players early. They don't want someone calmly connecting the dots. So if Ian is a faithful, his biggest challenge is not being too correct too soon. If he nails a traitor early, he becomes a murder target. If he stays quiet, the faithfuls might banish him for being suspiciously smart. If he's a traitor, nightmare, because he can weaponize the round table by steering logic towards the wrong person while looking principled. Ian's best play is careful pacing, be helpful, offer insight occasionally, and let someone else be the face of accusations. Next up is we have the Olympic skating legend, Johnny Weir, and also a great TV personality. Johnny Weir is iconic, flamboyant, and emotionally expressive, which in deception game can either protect you or doom you. He's famous as an Olympic level figure skater and a longtime TV personality. What Johnny brings is visibility. People notice him. He's not a background character. And sometimes traitors murder high visibility people simply to create chaos or eliminate social. His strength is that he can be disarming. People often assume performative equals honest because he's already dramatic. That can actually help him because his baseline is expressive. His weakness is that if he gets emotional, people might interpret it as guilt rather than personality, especially if the room is full of colder strategists. Johnny's best path is to lean into humor, connection, and empathy while avoiding being the person who drives accusations. If he becomes the emotional narrator of the castle, he could survive a long time. Next up is the gorgeous Kristen Kish. Kristen Kish comes from Top Chef, and competitive cooking shows create a very specific kind of winner. Composed under pressure, strategic, and able to perform while, exhausted. Kristen's advantage is calm. She likely won't spiral. She can focus on missions and teamwork without getting pulled into every paranoid conversation. And that often reads as stability. But here's the castle issue. Stability can read as detachment. If Kristen is too quiet, people will start saying, why isn't she reacting? Her best weapon is her ability to observe without revealing she's observing. In the Traitors, the people who collect information quietly are the ones who survive. If Kristen is a traitor, she could be terrifying because she won't overreact. She'll just strategically nudge. If she's a faithful, she needs a strong ally who can speak for her so she doesn't get banished for being too even. And now I'm kind of hoping this Top Chef host is a traitor. Next up is Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna is a professional reality TV operator, from soap opera fame to becoming one of the most famous presents on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her entire skill set is narrative construction. How to stir, how to redirect, how to survive controversy, and how to keep attention. And she is still doing it week after week, month after month since she left The Real Housewives. But what she brings is fearlessness. Rinna will say something out loud that everyone else is thinking but won't touch. That can be powerful at the round tables. The problem is that the Traitors is not housewives. Being loud doesn't always equal control. Sometimes it just makes you a target. Traitors may murder her for chaos management, and faithfuls may banish her for performing. If Rinna isn't a traitor, she could thrive if she restrained herself. Unlikely, but if she overplays, she'll get caught because the best lies are boring, and Rinna is not boring by nature. Her win path is being subtle, which is ironically, her hardest skill. So good luck, Lisa Rinna. Next up is Mark Ballas, who is known for Dancing with the Stars. And Dancing with the Stars people are sneakily great in social strategy formats because they understand partnership, politics, perception, and charming under pressure. Mark likely enters the castle as someone people like without being terrified. He can blend, he can connect with many personalities, housewives, athletes, comedians, because he's professionally adaptable. His biggest strength is also physical contribution. Missions matter. People keep strong mission performers around because they build prize money and morale. Think back to CT. Oh, love me some CT. But anyways, his risk is that the gamers view him as too socially fluid because they can read as slippery. If Mark floats between groups too easily, he'll get labeled because Mark's best play is to attach himself to a stable alliance early, be consistently helpful, and avoid leading accusations. Think back to Efron. A quiet, loyal, capable archetype can go deep. Where are my Love Islanders at? Next up is Mara Higgins. Mara is one of the most memorable personalities to come out of Love Island UK, and her fame is built on boldness, direct communication, huge presence, and a willingness to push conversations forward. Love Island is a social game, but it's a different kind. Mora's advantage is that she knows how to read attraction, alliances, and shifting loyalties in real time. She can sense when someone is performing. Her danger is visibility. The castle punishes people who are too central socially because it makes them influential. Traitors often murder influencers. If Mara is a faithful, she could be an excellent truth teller because she must avoid accusing too aggressively. Though if she's a traitor, she has the charisma to lie, but she may struggle with patience because she is used to fast confrontations and she so desperately wants to be a traitor. So will she get her wish? But I think Mara's best path is to be socially warm, strategically restrained, and let the bigger strategist take the public heat while she slays in look after look. Next up is actor, podcaster, controversy, Michael Rappaport. He's a loud personality, actor, commentator, and someone who thrives on the debate. He also loves his Bravo and his Housewives. And he is one of the more controversial casting choices this season, which means he may walk in with a preconceived suspicion. In the castle, loud can either be a shield or a death wish. Michael's strength is that he's not afraid of confrontation. He'll ask questions others won't. He'll push people into corners, but the risk is massive. If your default mode is intensity, you become exhausting. And in a paranoid environment, exhausted people want you gone. If he's faithful, he might accidentally sabotage his own side by creating chaos and paranoia. If he's a traitor, he might over-control conversations and reveal himself. Michael's survivor depends on self-awareness. Can he strategically dial it down? Because if not, he's an early boot, banished or murdered, and really, I think he's going to be gone in the first episode or two. How about you? Next up is Monet X Change, comes from RuPaul's Drag Race. And drag performers are often brilliant at this format because they can understand performance, persona, and social manipulation. Monet's advantage is that she can play roles: friendly ally, comic relief, emotional support, while still tracking the room. She's also socially intelligent. She knows how to build bonds quickly. The danger is that smart players will recognize her charisma and assume she's strategic because she is. And sometimes being obviously capable makes you a target, even if you're innocent. If Monet is a faithful, she can be the glue holding alliances together. She's a traitor. She could be devastating because she can mask intention behind humor. Monet's best play: be delightful, be useful, and only reveal strategic insight in controlled doses. Too much brilliance too soon gets you murdered. Think about Bob the Drag Queen. Next up is Natalie Anderson, who is a Survivor winner, and that is about as dangerous as it gets. Survivor winners have proven they can strategize socially, physically, and psychologically under extreme conditions. Natalie's strength is resilience and her precision. She can keep her emotions steady, stay mission capable, and read people. She's also not afraid to make moves, and she knows when to strike. Her weakness is her threat level. Everyone knows Survivor champs can lie. Everyone knows they can build alliances. She may be targeted early simply because the room doesn't want to deal with her. If she's faithful, she needs to underplay, support others' ideas rather than lead. If she's a traitor, she'll be one of the most feared because she can operate calmly while steering the outcomes. Natalie's win path is, I believe, managing the perception. I'm strong, but I'm not running this. That's the balance. Next up, another housewife, another legend, Portia Williams. She is a star of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and her reality TV journey has been about evolution from underestimated to absolutely central. What Portia brings is emotional intelligence and social magnetism. People like her. People want to be around her. And in the Traitors, likability buys you time. The risk is that she can also be reactionary when she feels attacked. And this castle is built on making you feel like you are attacked. She's constantly defending herself. She will look suspicious. If she's faithful, she can thrive as a connector, the person who bridges groups and keeps people calm. If she's a traitor, her charisma becomes lethal because she can create loyalty and exploit it. But hopefully this season they just don't go targeting all the housewives right off the jump, kind of like they did last season, I believe. But Portia's best play is to stay emotionally grounded and avoid being the loudest voice at the round tables. Let others look bossy. She stays beloved. And I actually think she could pull it off. If you asked me 10 years ago, no. But hey, she has evolved. Next is Rob Castorino. Is not just a Survivor alum. He is one of the most influential Survivor strategists and commentators in broader reality strategy space. That reputation alone gives him an already guilty aura. In a game like this, Rob's strength is mind games. He understands how people behave in social experiments because he's lived it and analyzed it for years. He knows how to plant doubts without taking ownership of them. His biggest risk is that everyone will assume he's scheming, even if he isn't. Strategy can get people banished for simply looking like they're thinking too hard. If he's faithful, he must make himself approachable, more social, less cerebral. If he's a traitor, he might actually be too obvious because he's associated with manipulation. Rob's win condition is to be funny, humble, and slightly self-deprecating. Let people think he's here for vibes while he's actually building the map. Love Islanders. It is Rob Ross, who comes from Love Island USA, and Love Island people bring a unique type of gameplay, emotional influence, social politics, and chaos tolerance. Rob's advantage is he's comfortable being talked about. He can handle group scrutiny, well, sometimes, because Love Island is basically public jury at all times. His downside: Love Island fame also comes with reputation for being a flirt, a stirrer, or someone who's not always serious. In the Traitors, if people think you're unserious, they won't trust you with logic-based decisions. If Rob is faithful, his best path is to be useful in missions and build genuine friendships with quieter players who want protection. If he's a traitor, he could play the dumb jock angle, but he must avoid being messy. Rob can go far, really, if he surprises people with competence. Next is Ron Funches. is a comedian and an actor, and comedy people are often sneaky good. The Traitors, because they understand timing, reading a room, and masking attention behind charm. Ron's strength is disarming energy. People trust the person who make them laugh, and laughter lowers defenses, which means people reveal more around him. His risk is being underestimated to the point of not being included in strategy conversations, and then he's out of the loop in the castle. Ignorance can get you banished because you can't defend yourself with specifics. If Ron is faithful, he should ally with one strategic player who keeps him informed. If he's a traitor, he could be deadly because he can keep the mood light while the murders happen. Ron's ideal game is to be safe, warm, quietly observant, and that can take him far. Next is reality TV OG lovers. One Tree Hill, Laguna Beach. What's up? Stephen Colletti. He became famous through early reality TV nostalgia, Laguna Beach, and then broader mainstream recognition through acting, including One Tree Hill and another show that he did with another fellow One Tree Hill actor. I highly recommend. Steven's advantage is that he's not immediately categorized as a master strategist. He's charming, familiar, and less threatening than the Big Brother survivor names. That helps early. But his challenge will be proving he belongs in the strategy conversation. If he's too passive, if he becomes a disposable number, some of the traitors can murder without backlash. If Steven is faithful, he needs to build a tight social circle early and become reliably present in discussion. If he's a traitor, he's acting background could help him stay composed and believable, but only if he doesn't overplay. Steven's best move is to lean into being grounded, reasonable, and socially connected, the guy people feel calm around. Next is Tara Lipinski. She is an Olympic champion, and Olympians bring serious mental toughness. High-stake performance under pressure is literally her origin story. Her advantage is discipline. She can keep emotions tight, remain mission-focused, and avoid messy social drama. The problem, the castle sometimes punishes people who don't emotionally participate because everyone's searching for tells. If Tara is too reserved, people may project deception onto her. If she's too blunt, she'll be perceived as judgmental. If she's faithful, she should form an alliance with someone socially warm who vouches for her. If she's a traitor, she could be terrifying because she's trained for composure, but she would need to actively build bonds so people don't view her as a nice queen. No pun intended. Tara's game is about balancing strength and warmth. At 20, Tiffany is one of the most respected strategic minds from Big Brother 23, and that is Tiffany Mitchell. Known for her high-level alliance thinking and big picture planning. Her strength is architecture. She can build structures, alliances, voting blocks, narratives, and keep them stable. She also reads social dynamics fast, which makes her a major threat to traitors. But Tiffany Risk is the smart woman in these games are often labeled as controlling or manipulative, even when they're simply organized. If the room gets insecure, they may banish her to feel safer. If Tiffany is faithful, she needs to choose when to lead and when to let others think it was her idea. If she's a traitor, she could dominate, but she'd have to keep suspicion off by occasionally being wrong in public. Tiffany's win condition is controlled visibility, being influenced, but not obviously in charge. We also have Yamal Yam Yam Orchero, Yam Yam won hearts, and the game on Survivor 44, where his social game was top tier. Yam Yam's fame comes from being charming, funny, and emotionally intelligent while still being strategic enough to win. His strength in the castle is the same that made him deadly on Survivor. People like him. And when people like you, they defend you. That is huge. His challenge is threat perception. Survivor winners walk in with a stamp on their forehead. This person can manipulate. If anyone decides he's too lovable, they might try to banish him before it's too late. If he's a faithful, he can become the heart of the coalition. But he must avoid being the face of accusation. If he's a traitor, he could be devastating because he can lie while smiling and still feeling authentic. Yum Yum's best play is to stay socially central but strategically soft-spoken. Let others start the fires, and he just directs the smoke. So, when does all of this premiere? Season 4, you can catch it January 8th, 2026 on Peacock with 3 episodes and then bigger drops the next week and weekly episodes after that leading into the finale and reunion. So, all right, fam, this is the full Traitors cast breakdown, and I need you in the comments right now. Who do you think is getting offed first, and who do you think will be the most iconic traitor revealed? If you love these deep dives, don't forget I also host Pop Culture Expose, where we go even deeper into the stories behind the headlines and the psychology behind the chaos. And last but not least, if you want weekly reality TV recaps, unhinged takes, and all the mess, go follow and watch the Villa Download, because we are absolutely covering the reality universe like it is our full-time job. See you in the next one.
Tune into the buzz, it's the talk of the day. From Bravo shows to the latest celeb spree, we've got the tea, come sip it with me. Dani Gossip Girl, Pop Culture Expose, we're spilling all the secrets every single